Hello? You're on mute, Michelle.
Sound on my computer's not great, but my headset, I'll try again, but it wasn't working very well. It said it was not connected. So let me try one more time. Hold on, because my headset just sounds better. So let me see if I can.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, that sounds better.
Right. When I logged in, it was like, your headset's not connected. And I was like, what do you mean it's not connected? Anyhow,
Those days.
New moon, woohoo, right? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh,
Hi. How's everybody doing?
good.
All right, and Jess is joining. We'll see. We'll see if Natalie hops in here and Colleen, and we'll get started. This is our easy week. This is the fun week. You get to play with all the tools, right? All right, let's see. Jess, can you hear us? Jess, you're not muted, so I don't know. Anyhow, all right. Well, we'll get started because, again, I want to be very respectful of everybody's time today because, again, I tend to be long-winded sometimes. Anyhow, so why don't we do a little quick check-in? Trish, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing okay. I have my moments. It's kind of an up-down week. So
Yeah.
Today I feel like I have a lot of energy, but yesterday not so much. So
Yeah. Well, and the new moon was yesterday, so I had someone just text me a little bit ago and they were just like, is there something going on because I'm emotional and this other person was emotional? And I was like, yeah, it could be just the new moon and you're just dealing with all of the after effects of clearing out the junk drawer of crap that y'all carry around. We all, right? Not you, but the universal you. Yeah, so good. I'm glad. Have you kind of caught up and watched? Good. Awesome.
yeah.
Anything
This
like
week was easier with the homework because I'm familiar with all of it. So it was kind of
Yeah. It was, like I said, easy stuff. Because next week we're talking Akashic Records. Tomorrow we're going to get into the Akashic Records, so that'll be fun. And can you believe next week's our last week?
No, that went way too fast.
It went really fast. I can't believe it. Well, and some people mentioned in the I don't know. I have like too many glasses on my desk right now. I have like a coffee cup from this morning. I have a water glass from yesterday. I have a water glass from today. Apparently, I'm just like, yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Oh, it's been a week. Anyways, so so this week was supposed to be easier on purpose. And next week we're going to get into the Akashic Records, so you guys know how to tap into your own Akashic Records, figure out what the hell's going on, and all the good stuff. Because the Akashic Records is like serious stuff. It's crazy, deep stuff, but it's good. So that's going to be our like big last hoorah. I was brain keeps going like in all sorts of different directions. So some people mentioned like possibly doing a level 2 in the mid course like survey. So I'm going to send you guys an email as well as the people from the last group, and just sort of get your feedback if you guys are interested in doing that, what topics you'd want me to go into more deeply, or if there's something I didn't cover that you want me to talk about, because I just want to make sure that if I do that, that it's like really resonating with the people that want more. And so I will be sending out an email probably sometime in the next couple days just to sort of check in with you guys and see what maybe you guys might want if you want more. And if you don't want more, that's okay too. It's fine, right? I'm easy. So, but I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. So Laura, it's so nice to see your beautiful face.
Thank you. So good to be here.
And so how are you doing? How's everything been so far? And like I said, I know you've missed a couple of them. And some of the feedback too that I received was like maybe changing the times every other week. And so I use the information you guys give me to really try and make this as accommodating and purposeful for everyone. So Laura, tell us how you're doing, if there's anything you're stuck on, or if there's anything like that's going on with you.
Yeah, so over the weekend, like Sunday, I was like totally spent. So I did
Yeah.
some intensive client work on Friday, Saturday, and likely didn't ground myself well enough. So I was just like totally depleted. A little bit uneven Monday and Tuesday. I'm feeling better today.
Good.
Because I did some journaling and really set my intention last night with the new moon. I was catching up listening to what is it, the family
Ancestral, the ancestral one.
Yes, the ancestral one. So I'm a little bit behind, so I'm doing some catch up work on that. And yeah, like every time I listen to your meditations, I just feel like, okay, all is better in the world.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, was that a whoof good or a woof like?
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
good.
it's like, okay, I actually sleep deeper and I like track it on my Fitbit. It's kind of interesting. So yeah.
I love it. Well, and in my membership group, like I asked some questions too around like doing some hypnosis, like meditations as well to add to the vault. And so one of them asked to do a sleep one. So that's kind of on my list right now as well. I need to find time to record them all. But yes, so I love that. So I'm glad that's helping you. That's what they're there for. So
Yeah,
good.
it's good. Thank
Awesome.
you.
You're welcome. All right, Jess, how are you?
I'm well. It's been a good week. I was all up in my new moon yesterday, so I was I think my husband gets used to it the whole day for like new moon and full moon. I'm kind of just in my zone.
Yeah.
And so for him being super needy, I think he does flow and gets it. But I've been having some good breakthroughs. I had some good quality time with my daughter, and she's been my hard one. She's been acting up a little bit, so that has leveled out now that I've been just scheduling some time alone with her.
Good.
So we had some good breakthroughs with her, and money blocks. I've been having some real good like aha moments.
Yay. Love it.
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. That's so great. I love that. And that's what this is all about, right? Is like we get clear and get rid of all the crap that isn't serving us. So, and I love that you did all the new moon stuff. And I did not do as much as I normally do, but I didn't have as much time and space yesterday to really sort of focus on it. This week's been kind of crazy bananas for me. And I actually have healing, like I have scheduled a bunch of healings for myself. So like I have one later today, I have one tomorrow morning, and I'm just like, what was I thinking? Because I don't know well, actually I know one of them got moved to this week that was planned for later on in the month. And I was like, oh, all right, we'll move it to today. So anyways, so I don't know, by Monday I might be a whole new person. Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that things are going well for you. All right, Miss Natalie, how are you? Hopefully your computer's plugged in.
Yeah, so if I disappear and somebody's wanting to come back in, it'll probably be me. It's so temperamental, honestly.
Yeah.
I've I don't know. I'm kind of okay. Yeah, I've had a couple of things come up with my maths tutoring people, and then I've had a couple more queries today as well, actually. So things have kind of been opening up a little bit for me with that, which is good. And but sorry, I've spent this morning putting together like something to put on my mathematics, and the concentration has just drained me. I'm like so bear with me. But yeah, I'm struggling with them. I'm finding that I'm not finding the time to do the meditation, even though I know I struggle to kind of fit things in like routine wise and things. So I've been doing my morning pages, which I've been doing successfully for about 6-7 weeks now, I think, probably a bit longer than that. But then I always find that I don't feel I'm in the right place to then do the meditation afterwards, and then I never really do it.
Circle back. Yeah,
and I sort of think, well, maybe I should just do it at the start, and then I've gone backwards now. Perhaps just do that at the start and then do everything else afterwards, because if I'm getting up to do it and it's the first thing I'll do, I'll make a drink and come in here and do it. Excuse me. But then I just don't know whether I'm just not in the right place to do it, whether I need to find a different place in my house to do it. whether it's just not the right place to do it sat at my desk.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Understand
One,
that.
give yourself a little bit of grace, right? It's
Oh, I'm always
okay,
doing
right?
that. I'm always giving
And
myself.
well, because your morning pages can become a meditative ritual, to be honest. Like and so for me, you know, I don't spend 20 minutes meditating necessarily every day, especially when my kids are here and I have to get them to school. Like I don't have the time in the morning to schedule that. I should, if I really wanted to, I probably could get up an extra hour early, but that's so instead I make a choice and go, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to do my morning ritual of clearing my chakras and everything. And then I find time to do writing instead or something like that. So again, it's all good, but you know, but maybe try it, right? Try it a few times, or, you know, plan your Saturday or Sunday mornings, like to do it and plan on doing it then. Right. So it's really just about like whatever works for you. Right. Because again, every other week I am slam busy and I don't have the same amount of space that I do on the weeks that my kids aren't here. So like they're not here this week. So of course I jam packed my calendar with lots of other things, but it's just you do you, right? You'll figure it out. And whatever works for you. But I would recommend at least trying to set some time on a Saturday or a Sunday and just sort of like, this is my quiet time. This is part of my hour morning Saturday ritual. And I'm going to do a longer meditation, right? Because you don't have to spend an hour in meditation every day. Like you don't need to. If it's 5 minutes,
even.
right?
Yeah.
Even if you just sit quietly for 5 minutes or even in the shower, right? Because that's just as easy. And when you're in the shower and you can just say, I'm open for messages. And because when you're in the shower, your brain, your conscious mind shuts off because it's something you do every single day and you do it the same way every single day. Because honestly, right? And it's where you get those aha moments. So just figure out a place and a time, because you don't need to necessarily sit, and you can also do walking meditation. Right. If you go for a walk every day with your daughter or whatever you do, like you can also say, all right, I'm going to go and do a meditative walk today instead of sitting down at your desk and doing it. Because, you know, while I provide you guys plenty of meditations, it doesn't mean you only have to listen to, obviously, you don't just listen to mine. And there are some that are shorter than others, right? I mean, I have a chakra clearing that's 5 minutes maybe somewhere on, I think it's in the membership group. You know, and if you do that, I do that every single day, no matter what. I clear my chakras and that is part of a meditative practice where I open myself up, clear my chakras. So even if I'm not meditating, at the very minimum, I'm doing a clearing and going, okay, I'm ready for my day. Right. So you choose what like feels right for you. And someone posted, so sometimes people get stumped because they don't like doing the same thing every day. Like some people are just like, I don't want to do the same thing every day. And so we did a workshop on getting out of overwhelm yesterday in the membership group. That was really great. And when I was talking to Dawn, who put that workshop on, she was just like, yeah, I don't like doing the same thing every day. So I write a list of all the things that I could do. And I leave that. So every day I just look at it and go, oh, I could do that today. And that just sort of can shift things up a little bit. So if you don't feel like, I'm a routine person, I love my routines. And so, and changing out of my routines is challenging for me. I'm going to be very honest. Like I'm a routine girl and habits. And so I do certain things at the same time, at the same, like every day. And so I like that, right? Because it makes me do it, if that makes sense. Like I get distracted easy. So when I have a routine, it really makes me like, I like know the steps, and so I do it totally unconsciously. But if that's not who you are, that's okay. Like write a list of being like, well, today instead of sitting down for 5 minutes of meditation in the shower, I'm just gonna like visualize my chakra and my auras being cleansed, and with like my shower is this white light, and then go with it. Right? It doesn't matter. It's whatever feels good for you at that point in time, because we're all busy, right? We're all busy, like moms or workers or whatever it is. Like we all wear a lot of hats, so just you can squeeze it in whatever form you like, right? There's really no prescription that says this is absolutely positively how you have to do it. Do whatever feels right. That's all. Okay.
I just haven't quite got there, I think, and it's like I'm like you in the sense I get really distracted very easily, and I've been trying by doing this sort of regimented thing to try and get things embedded in my day so they get done, and I am reviewing it every week, you know, and things come up, so it ends up kind of going away. But as I say, it's just trying to get this meditation bit embedded, I guess. It's something that's my next important thing
Yeah.
that I want to get sorted. So I will.
And here's the thing too, right? Is that now that you guys you've had this on your calendar, right, for the last 10 weeks, right? So
Mhm.
use this time slot even when we're done and be like, you know what, at 1 o'clock every
Mhm.
Wednesday, I'm going to make a half an hour time where I'm going to sit and do a meditation, or I'm going to sit and do automatic writing, or I'm going to go for a meditative walk, whatever it is, right?
Mm.
But know that like you've already scheduled this time for the last 10 weeks, that you can keep going and scheduling something in this time that will help you keep the practice up, right? Because I know that some people, especially even in my last group, you know, because the Facebook group is open, like for you guys, like to keep asking questions long, like it's your group, like, and I check in with my students, like after, and I just am like, hey, is there anything I can support you with, right? And some of them are just like, I'm falling into bad, like my old habits, and so sometimes it's just like you need to sort of keep and maintaining like some of the habits that you have even after this course, right? I can't do it for you. So,
Mhm.
all right. So today, like today's fun. It's like show and tell for me. Like I'm gonna talk. So you guys all already know, like I love Oracle cards. Like if you guys didn't watch my reel, like I made a dumb reel and it was just like me, like and that was only like a quarter of the card decks that I have. But
Mhm.
in this week's course, right, I talked about a lot of different tools that you can use to tap into your intuition. Right. And so use whatever feels right. And so I pull cards for myself every single morning, right? I use automatic writing every morning. I have a pendulum. Like this morning, I used my pendulum because I had a couple of questions that I was like sitting there stumped about, and I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do about it. And so I kind of like went into this neutral place and was like, okay, well, what do I need to know? Like, how can I solve this problem? Like, is this the right next step for me or not? Right. And I use my pendulum, especially when I need to make a large purchase. Right. Like taking Emily Aaron's, like being part of her mastermind. Right. I was like, okay, this is an investment. Is this right for me to do right now? Right. And I try, and the thing about the pendulum, so like I said, I went into depth a lot in the course. There's also a YouTube video I did, I think that's out there, that's all about pendulums. But pendulums, you really need to come from a neutral space when you ask it a question, right? Because if you're thinking yes, 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 it will show you yes, whether or not that's for your highest and greatest good, right? So when I use my pendulum, right, and you can ask it questions. You don't have to necessarily just say yes or no, right? You can create a grid. Whoops. And so you can make something that has options, right? So you can sort of make it look, I don't know if you can see it, but so like if you make half a circle and you split it up like pieces of a pie and put your different options. So when I do pricing for my offerings, I'm like, what's the best price for it? And so I will put 5 different options, and I will let my pendulum, right, in spirit tell me, okay, this is the right price for this right now, for the right people, all that stuff. So I use it usually I ask yes or no questions, but sometimes you can ask, again, asking about a range, right, and for an answer. But you need to come from a neutral space, because if you're really hoping the answer is either yes or no, it will show you that. But I also call in like the right spirit guides for my question, right? So if I want to know, okay, is it right for me to start a new masterclass or take a new course, right? I will call in my career guides, right? I will call in, okay, so I want to know if this is the right thing for my business, right? I will call in career guides and my spirit guides. If it's something about my health and wellness, okay, I want to talk to my healer guides. I want to talk to Archangel Raphael. What is the right, answer? But you can also just say my higher self, right? So you can use this in a lot of different ways. I don't use it a ton, but it definitely helps when you're struggling with an answer, like to come up with an answer, or struggling with like, should I do this or not? And your gut is not leading you. Like often, sometimes, again, when we want something or we're not sure, because it's, again, when we make investments, when it has to do with money, especially, sometimes my gut, like that conscious mind is like, no, boop, boop, right? It raises the hackles and it's like, no, that's like a lot of money. And you have to, again, look into your money beliefs. But sometimes this really helps me out when it comes to especially making decisions that have a large sort of financial decision that requires a large financial investment. So I often use it for that. But during my divorce, I like used it all the time. Like I was just like, okay, so what, I just ask like, are we going to separate in a amicable way? Like, what are we going to like? And so when I very first started using it, I used it for like all sorts of random questions. Now I use it a little bit less because my intuition is a lot stronger than it was 4 years ago. So, but that's just a really great and easy tool. Again, if you're stuck in indecision and you're like, all right, I just need to know what my next best step is. So there's also a lot of other tools. And I know I talked about tarot cards and oracle cards, and those are my absolute favorite thing to use. I don't use tarot cards as much as I use my oracle cards, mainly because I find tarot to be very limiting for me. And like I like my intuition. So when I pull cards, I want to be able to like really tap in and just listen to what spirit has for the people or for myself or whatever it is. Whereas tarot is like, okay, the 10 of cups is all about XYZ. Right. And so I sometimes sort of feel limited, like, okay, well, now I got to go look up the book and see what it says. And is that really how I feel? And so, and that's purely a personal thing, right? I've put that limit on tarot cards. That's not necessarily how it actually is. That's just some mental block that I have. But there's also tons of different types of oracle cards or tarot cards. So like this, I have a normal set of Rider Waite tarot cards, but I also have this one, which is called like Dreams of Gaia, which is beautiful. But again, I don't use it a lot because it's very indoctrinated into sort of, it's very heavily based on the tarot. And so I'm just going to pull up a card just so you guys can kind of like, but they're very pretty. Like they're like, I think this is the 4 of water. Like they're very like pretty cards, like, so, but there's so many different kinds of decks. There's that you can really tap into one that really resonates with you. And you guys have all been on my well, some of you I think have all been on my lives. So you guys already know that like this deck, this is a Colette Baron Reid, The Wisdom of the Oracle. This is my favorite deck to use, especially when I'm reading other people, because my intuition, like it's like muscle memory. It's like, okay, yep, this is what this is. I turn the switch on. I'm like, this is what it means for you. Done. Move on to the next person. So these give me really quick hits, especially when I'm working with other people. But I have so many different kinds of decks that every day I almost choose a different deck depending on what it is. But when you tune in for oracle cards or any kind of divination tool, again, you want to make sure that you're cleansing or like that you're clearing the energy off of your cards. So if you are using cards with other people, make sure you're clearing your cards after they touch them, right? Because they pick up their energy. They really do. As well as when you do that, when you're shuffling, right? You just like have your question in mind or the goal, right? So I use mine. I pull new moon, like I have a new moon spread, and I will be like, okay, what does this new moon have for me as I'm shuffling? And then when I'm ready to pull a card, I will ask the question for that card. Okay, what is the energy of this new moon? Pick a card. What have I released since the full moon? Pick a card. So I just want to sort of share that, when you're shuffling, it's really about putting the energy of the entire like spread or question that you have. And then as you're shuffling to pull the card, that's when you sort of are focused on the question. And know that like spirit is going to give you the answer that you need, not what you want. Just so you know. So again, talking about decks is when it comes to oracle decks, and again, I got into this in the video, there's a lot of different kinds of decks, and they're all useful in their own way, right? And so some of them are very like feminine powered, divine feminine like energy. But there's animals, like I love this deck too, which is another I love Colette Baron Reid decks, if you hadn't like figured that out. But like the Spirit Animal Oracle, this one, super easy to read, right? And so for beginners, again, this is a super easy deck. Because it basically tells you kind of, it's like, here, this is the otter. Right. And otter spirit is you are never alone. Right. And then you can take that and listen to your intuition and be like, okay, what does that really mean for me? right? So some decks are just really easy to interpret. Others are like, what in the hell? Because I have some healing decks that I use specifically to pull a card like, what do I need to heal or release today? And I have to read the book because there's a lot of information, as well as there's usually an invocation or a healing that you do at the same time. So again, you can pick ones that are based on animals. There's angels, like I have this one. This is another really easy deck to use, especially if you're like a beginner. This is a really easy deck. And then there's some that are more challenging, again, that you just need to play with to figure out how it measures up or how it talks to you. And then there's affirmation cards, right? There's some decks that are just like, you pull a card and it's like, I am amazing. Or like there's some of those that you can use too, just to sort of be like, what is my mantra for today? What's the affirmation that I need to like really tune in and listen to today? And so those are really easy and great to use as well. When you just are like, I need to shift my energy. What do I need to like say to myself? I also, so then again, there's some that are based around the moon. So I use this for my moon phases. So on the full moon and the new moon, I use this deck all the time. And so it's the Moonology deck. So it's really about personal preference. And again, I showed you guys this during when we were talking about Ascended Masters and Archangels, right? The Keepers of the Light. This is a great tool. Like I use this once a week. Every Monday, I pull who's the Archangel or Ascended Master I want to work with this week. Right. But I also have a Divine Goddess like deck as well. And so sometimes instead of using this one, I'll be like, I want to work with a goddess this week. Who do I need to tap into? And then I go and I use my books, right? Because again, I know that some of you guys got the Doreen Virtue book, the Ascended Masters and Archangels book. And so I will go to that book and be like, okay, so it says that I need to work with Sanat Kumara. Okay, what's this dude about? And what do I need to like really like focus on, and how can I use him and tap into him to sort of get the wisdom that I need this week? So it's really, again, I use it in a lot of different ways. Like I said, it was show and tell this week. So then this is another thing that I got, because for a long time I worked very closely with Kuan Yin. She was my guide. Like I have an entire notebook of automatic writings that I used from her. And so I found this deck in a spiritual center that's like the Kuan Yin transmission, like, and it's not really a traditional deck. It's like little baby cards. And I pull a card from her once a week. And so they're just really short little like cards. And like this one says, dwelling place. Where does your mind most often dwell? Upon my grace or upon a problem? Choose me as the dwelling place for your mind, and your soul shall find rest within the temple of my heart. So I pull one of these every week as well. Like I said, I used to pull them every single day. And now as I'm opening up and moving and working with other guides, I only pull that once a week. But again, it's up to you. You get to like play and have fun. And then you also have something called the runes. Has anybody used runes before? So runes is a Norse divination tool. And so what's funny is that I've been playing with like tarot cards and all this stuff since I was a late teenager. And my best friend, she was into pottery, and she actually made me a rune set. And so I have runes that she made me, and then I just bought a book so that I could use it. But the runes they're just kind of like symbols. So they're just little symbols. But it's very similar to tarot or to oracle cards, where you'll pick one based on your question, and then you can find the answer, like what it means. I have not used the runes in a really long time, but it's just another sort of thing, like tool, like some people are really into them. It's great. I like to give you guys options, right? Here, let me like help you. And then lastly, again, I know I talked about this, is the I Ching. And the I Ching, it's a Chinese divination tool as well, where you toss coins, and based on the coins that you toss, like it comes up with like what's happening and what's sort of changing or in your life. And so this is just a really easy book that I got that like I'll play with every now and again. Again, I don't use it a ton, but it's just really easy to sort of like be like, okay, this is like how it all works. And so if you throw like the coins and it's like 3 heads, it's like a straight line. If it's 3 tails, it's a dotted line. And then depending on like where they all fall, like is how you come up with like what is happening in your life. So again, it's a really cool, and it's very old, right? The I Ching has been around for a really long time, obviously. So it's just a fun, sometimes again, you just need to add a little fun to and mix up your like how you tap into your intuition. Does anybody have questions? Yes.
Mute myself. Hi. I just wondered what other people used, because I mean I've used. Has anyone sort of picked up anything recently and sort of started practicing with it as well? Because I mean I've used oracle cards. I've had a go with the pendulum, but I'm not. It doesn't. I don't really sort of. Probably just need to practice with it really. But I've used oracle cards. But I wondered what others in the group use. And I was going to probably put a post on the Facebook group as well.
Yeah. Has anybody used cards? Did you guys use cards or any of the divination tools that like maybe we
yeah.
talked about or didn't talk about? You used something totally different.
So I just bought my first tarot deck recently, like probably 2 months ago or so. I have no idea how to use them yet. So I just, picked it up.
But
And
yeah.
And pendulum, yes, I have used pendulum. certainly.
And Natalie, when it comes to the pendulum, depending on what you're using, sometimes like they're done. Like if it's really important to like when you pick out your pendulum, you pick one out that resonates with you, because sometimes like it especially if it has a crystal attached to it, sometimes it's just like not. It's like I don't want to work with your energy. Like it's not meant for you. And I know that's like kind of like silly, but sometimes it happens. Or if you've been using it for a long time and it stops working, right? It's like, okay, it's time to go and like either give it to someone else or bury it in your backyard or whatever it is that you like to do with like things like that. But sometimes they're just like, okay, we're done. Like it's time to get a new one. I will say that like when I first started using a pendulum, I literally used a glass bead on a string. I found a glass bead at like, yep, exactly. I found, and it worked great. Like you can use a paper clip on a piece of string. It doesn't matter. The key is that you want to also like make sure that you're figuring out what is yes, what is no, what is maybe, what is like, I'm not telling you right now. Right. So, so for me, and every time I use it, I make it show it to me. Right. And even though it's the same 98% of the time, like sometimes it's just like the way I'm holding it will show up a little bit differently. So I always, before I start, go show me yes, show me no. I don't usually say show me maybe because maybe is a circle. So it's just like, for me, it's a counterclockwise circle is maybe. And then if they're just not talking to me, they'll go the opposite direction. But making sure you tune in and figuring out, making sure that what is your yes, your no, because it can be different for every person. And that's before I start, I always, and I also cleanse it before I use it. Like I used to do Reiki. I used to Reiki it before I used it to like just clear any energy that wasn't mine. Because again, like it's sitting in my house and who knows like what maybe it's picked up. So I always kind of try and cleanse it. And you can cleanse it with intention, just be like, this is clear. I'm opening myself up. Or you can use sage or anything like that as well to sort of clear, like you would do any crystal, right? Before you bring a crystal into your house, you should really be cleansing it and setting the intention of what that crystal's for, and really kind of tapping into the energy and power of it before you just start putting it in a crystal grid. Because sometimes again it can have energy from the store you bought it at. It can, like, other people handled it. If it ended up coming from Amazon, Lord knows what energy is on it, right? So so that's just kind of like how I handle that. But did that sort of answer your question? Yeah. Yes. So I kind of thought that maybe I'd give you guys readings if you want, like tonight. Anybody interested? Anybody want a reading? Okay. And I know some of you guys were on my live last night, and that was like a zoo. There were so many people. I was like, oh my God. The last 10 minutes, I was like, here, this is your card. Here, this is your card. Here, this is your card. And so that's why I really love my membership group, to be honest, because I'm like, I have more space. But you guys are special too. And you guys so right now I have my Moonology deck. I have the Animal Oracle deck. I have an Angel deck. And then I have my good old standby Wisdom of the Oracle deck. So you guys can pick which deck you guys want me to pick a card from. And if you want me to focus on something. Yay. right? You guys don't usually get to like ask a question in my lives. So, so Trish, why don't we start with you? Like, what do you want? What do you want to know? And pick a deck that you want me to use.
I don't know what I want to know yet.
Okay, we'll skip you then. All right. Laura, how about you? Do you have something in mind that maybe you want a little more clarity around?
Yeah. So for me, I'm open to whatever deck. I don't know them enough to, yeah, so I'll trust whatever one.
All right.
calls you.
Spirit's calling the angel deck for you. So we'll go with that
Okay.
one. Okay.
So for me, it is with my business. Should I be pursuing corporate opportunities or continue with working outside of corporate?
So I haven't pulled your card yet, but they're leaning towards looking into adding corporate into the mix. Just sort of see, but they're also wanting you to be very, and again, this is what happens when I like have a small group and I'm like, okay, this is what they want you to know. They also want you to really sort of pay attention to how much time and energy that might take from you to really like dig into something like that. So they're kind of like wanting you to just do a little research into that and see what it might take. And how it might change your life and if you're ready for that, because it feels like it's going to be a little bit more of a time commitment than maybe you're used to from finding the right clients and all of that. So just they're saying, like I said, it's just kind of like they're just saying you need a little more. I'm going to pull a card, but you just might need to do a little more research to really figure out what it's going to take to do that and whether or not you're willing to commit to add that into the mix, because it feels like it's adding it and not taking away from what you already do. All right, I'll stop talking. Let's see what the cards say. Okay. And by the way, the people that aren't on here, so Colleen, is that it? I think it's just Colleen that's missing, right? So I'll pull Colleen one at the end because I want to make sure everybody gets a card. Okay. All right. Romance and connection. That's so funny. Sorry. Excuse me. Woo. Okay. Funny. Romance and connection when it has to do with business question. Okay.
Funny.
So for me, like it's not so much about the romance. The one you could use with a little more romance in you, like you could use a little bit of that, but they're also for your business. It's like all about connections. So it's going to be really like relying on your network ability and the people that you already have in your network and connecting with them and getting them to help you into the corporate world. So even like reaching out, if you have because it feels like you have a couple people that you almost are thinking about like tapping into some of their resources. So even like when you're doing this like research is like talking to them, seeing what it might take for them to even be able to help you, what entree you need into the corporate for them to sort of really buy into what you're offering. So this is really about connection and networking. And that's going to that's in order to like make that successful, it's going to be super important that you do that. Yeah. But also they're saying like you might be, now that COVID's kind of like going away, it might be time to look for a new relationship as well. Cause it feels like it might be time to put your toe back in that water and bring a little more, and it's not even like, and it's almost like finding even just like a person to hang out with and go out out to dinner with, that even if it doesn't ultimately end in romance, like it's just having almost like a nice male friend to hang out with and have dinner with and see what happens. So they're just reminding you that maybe it might be time to do that too. Did that help you?
Totally.
Okay. I was like, did that make sense for you? Okay, good. All right, Miss Jessica, how about you? And then you, like I said, you have animals, moons, angels. Yeah.
Let's do the moon decks for the new moon.
Okay. All right. So like I said, you guys should see my desk right now. It's like just like decks and glasses of water, apparently, and notebooks. It's just, okay. All right. So what do you want to know about the new moon? What do you want to know?
I think my biggest question would be for my husband and I, just our careers, we're kind of in a new path. And so I don't want it to be too vague, but what is our career path? We're trying to decide if we want to be together and do it, or if we need separately, or if one of us is going to, it's just kind of very up in the air. I've been
Okay.
asking Spirit to connect us with people so that hopefully with the right people and figure out what pathway that is. But we are just kind of shooting at different things and hoping that something sticks.
Because that always works.
Mhm.
Excuse me. So, well, the first thing that Spirit like literally dumped in my head is, how are you bringing creativity into this mix? Because
Yes.
whatever it is, you need to have a creative like thumb in it. So if
I do.
you get control over sort of the marketing piece or some sort of like the artwork that you're going to put out on your flyers or whatever it is that you're doing, make sure
Mhm.
that you get to still have some sort of creative control in whatever it is. So, but
Okay. And that
'cause
is
l-
what I'm asking for
Okay.
me. I don't know exactly,
Okay.
for
'Cause
him,
that's-
but for me, it is, I need something
Yeah.
creative.
So,
out
and
there.
it does feel like you guys could successfully do something together. It's really about, do you really want to work with your spouse and go like where there's no separation between work and your relationship? So they just want you to like really like pay attention to whether or not that's something you want to do. Not that it's a bad idea. They're just, again, they like to make sure that they're sort of giving you some guidance when it comes to making sure you think before you jump a little bit.
Mhm.
Because just think about it, because it feels like you may not really like want to spend 24/7 with your spouse, because that's what will happen.
Yes. And that's what we're in right now. Since COVID, we've spent the whole year together.
Yeah.
It's
and
been
so
24 hours,
yeah.
7 days a week.
It
And
just
we
feels
do
like
need
you
a
guys,
break.
yeah, it just feels like you guys might be, well, here's the other thing too. So like I said, depending on what it is, if he's traveling or he's out of the house, like going and selling and doing whatever it is that you guys are planning on possibly doing, that may just break it up enough. But again, being co-bosses with each other, and especially if one person is like the face of the organization and they're not living up to it, then that can create some strain on your relationship. So just
Mhm.
remembering that when you're thinking about like how you're going to work forth, and making sure you set clear like guidelines and boundaries, almost like that no matter what, you'll still love them. Like it doesn't matter if they don't hit their sales target, that kind of thing. Cause that's kind of feels like what could possibly, and not that you're like a traditional, but it can happen, right? It's like, well, you're not doing your part. Like, how are you not stepping up? And vice versa, right? You're not marketing enough, or you're not, whatever it is. So just be aware
And-
that.
Yes, and he's an overachiever. So, and I'm not.
Okay.
So that is our balance, even here at the house with chores.
Okay. All right. So let's see. What's funny is it says it's a time to give rather than take. It's the new moon in Virgo.
Okay.
So this is really talking about compromise. And so for you anyways, like for you specifically, you're going to probably have to do a little compromising if you're going to want to get into business with your spouse. Because him being an overachiever, like you just said, like he's going to demand stuff from you, and you need to be willing to either say yes or no. Right. And so you may need to give a little more than maybe you want from a compromise standpoint. They also are like, make sure it's a combined vision, and that it's not just his vision, because otherwise you're not going to be fully committed to it. So like I said, they're showing me that it can be successful as long as you go into it with the right frame of mind and the right sort of boundaries and guidelines, right? Making sure he's not stepping on your toes and you're not stepping on his toes. You each have your own like unique gifts and talents to bring to this like new thing. And so it's really going to be a lot of give and take, a little, right? And he needs to be willing to compromise too, right? Because it needs to be a shared vision in order for it to work. Because if you're not willing to each give to make it the best for both of you, then it's not going to work. Somebody's going to get resentful, someone's going to get mad. And so just be aware, again, that you both are going to need to be willing to compromise in order to make it work, for both of your highest and greatest good. Okay.
Okay.
it does feel like it's good. It feels like it can work really well, but again, you just need to make sure that you treat it like a business, right? That you're just like, this is your role, this is my role, this is where my role ends, this is where your role ends. This is our combined, you know, and having almost like weekly meetings or daily meetings where you're like, okay, this is what we're working on today, yes? And coming to a strategy together versus, because it feels like he kind of walks over you a little bit, like he's just like, whatever, I know what I'm doing. You're like, yeah, but I have some things to contribute too. So if he's not willing to listen to what you have to contribute, then it may not be the right fit for you.
Mhm.
Right. So yeah. So you need to talk to him and be like, are you willing to compromise and work with me, or are you going to just steamroll me? Because if you're going to steamroll me, I'd rather just stick to the marriage than be
Mhm.
your business partner. Okay.
True.
All right, Miss Natalie, what can I do for you?
Hello. I think I would like to know where to concentrate my time in the next couple of weeks.
What deck do you wish me to use?
Kyle Gray,
Okay.
and I wrote it down actually because it spoke to me. Keepers
The
of the
Angel
Light.
Guide. Oh, I don't have that deck down here.
Okay.
I
the
only
other one
have
then.
the book
That's
for
fine.
some reason. I don't know why I have, but I
That's
can use the other Kyle
Angel
Gray
Guide.
book. Does that work?
Angel Guide.
Sorry, I'm
Angel
sorry.
Guide. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't have that. Yeah, I took it back upstairs, but I magically left the book down here for some reason. So, okay. So they feel like it's planning. I haven't pulled the card yet, but it feels planning, right? And getting your shit in order so that you're organized. So, because it feels like you still need to do a little planning and organization in order to really figure out what you want, where you want to go, who your target like audience is, who you're going to market to. Like you really need to get clear before you launch it, because otherwise, again, like your energy that you're putting out, if you don't actually have the answer to who your like soulmate client is and who you want to work with and what they're going to get from you, right? And I'm not saying get from like they're stealing it from you, but what like from a tutoring standpoint, like what can you offer? Like what are you offering them from a transformation? Like I will help your child figure out math in an easy way or whatever it is. Like so take like really getting clear on what that transformation from before they work with you to after working with you and getting clear on that. So it feels
I've got that
very
one. Yeah, I feel I've got that sorted, definitely, because it's all about like a mindset thing. It's all
Mhm.
about building the confidence that radiates across their whole life rather than just maths.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, but it's just
Great. No, and that's,
target.
but getting clear and really sort of knowing, you know, where you're going to be marketing, who you're going to be marketing to. Like, is it the mom? I'm assuming it's the moms, right? Or maybe the dads, but for the most part, it's probably the moms.
Parents, yeah,
You know, and how are you going to get around any of their objections on, oh, I want to only pay you a small amount. And you're like, yeah, but my skills, I got skills, baby. Yes. Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm up
Yep.
here.
But being able to really sort of come to coming back and saying that's, you know, all right, well, you know, how much do you value the growth in your child? Like that's what I'm offering you, and being able to overcome those objections that they're going to have
Yeah.
to the price point. But there is definitely an audience and there's definitely like clients for you, and making sure that when you do start marketing and putting yourself out there, that's the right group of people that you're actually marketing to. Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? No, probably not, right? I don't know, maybe they are,
The
but
kids are. Yeah. The ones that want to
kids are, but the moms aren't.
yes.
Moms are just like, what are you doing? They're like, TikTok dance. And they're just, I don't know. This is coming from a mom who I'm like eventually going to have to hire a tutor. So I'm just like, I'm not on TikTok, but that's okay. Maybe the people in the UK are farther along than
I'm here.
there you go. Yes. But so, yeah. So just making sure that you're where your target audience is, and that's where you're spending the most time and energy from a marketing standpoint, and putting yourself out there and being visible. Opportunity and change. Okay.
Mhm.
Opportunity and change. So yeah, the opportunity is definitely there. Again, you may need to pivot a little bit, right? When you start, if something isn't working, making sure that you are pivoting to sort of, if you see something is like, okay, this, for whatever reason, this isn't working, but this is, move and lean into that. So you may need to try a couple of different avenues, right? And then once you figure out, oh, this is getting more traction than this is, like going into that where you're getting the most traction, the most bang for your buck kind of thing.
Mhm.
But it feels like you're going to have to kind of like start with a few different methods, a few different like platforms, or between email and being online or whatever it is, like it's going to be across a couple different platforms, and then you're going to see I get way more engagement here than here, and then focusing on that. You still want to maybe like dribble in the other areas, but you want to really like spend the majority of your time and money in the space that's getting you the most traction. And you're going to soon find out. It feels like once you plan and you have it all sorted, because they're really showing me a plan. Like you have it all mapped out. Like this week, this is what I'm going to focus on promoting, right? And how you're going to promote it, and making sure that your content and it really resonates, right? And like I said, some people are going to resonate with certain words, certain key things that are going to get you more engagement than others. And so when you see that, that's where you're going to be like, I know that that word brings up a lot of like people, and I'm going to use that word in almost every single post or every single marketing piece. So, so yeah. So the next 2 weeks is really about planning, knowing the opportunity is there. You may have to, again, change a little bit from like just being a little flexible and pivoting when you need to. But yeah, there's like by June, right? That's when like people need it before the new school year starts and all that stuff. So yeah, you're gonna be fine. Did that
This
help
will
you?
just come up.
Yeah. Yes. And reels right now are very popular on Instagram. Like it's very popular. And I only just started doing reels, and I'm still kind of like slightly resistant to them, but I'm trying to lean into them more, and be like, because again, when some of the reels, like you feel like you're an idiot and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna like make myself look dumb, and that's okay, I guess. So it took me a while to sort of be like, it's fine, just do it anyways. So you have to kind of lean into the fear a little bit, and just go with it. But it doesn't hurt. I tried it. I only have a few of them out there, but it's but yeah, and if you need help, like let me know. I only learned some tips from my marketing manager recently on how you can make them a little bit better. I still don't know everything, but if you need some help, let me know, and I'm happy to like
All right.
do it. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, reels are very like popular right now, especially if you can make them funny and you resonate with them, and that's the energy you're putting out, and then people are definitely respond. So yeah.
Chance to be a bit silly. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'll laugh
exactly.
at myself. So yeah.
Perfect. Yes.
Thank
I
you very
probably
much,
need to
Michelle.
do more of that, but yes. All right, Miss Trish, are you ready now?
Do it.
I'm ready. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, that gave me lots of time to think.
Perfect.
So for card deck, the one that you're shuffling right now is perfect.
All right, the animal deck. It's a great deck. So yeah, sure.
Okay. I started my business because I was going to leave my full-time job, but now they presented another opportunity to me. And so I'm thinking of staying to do that. So I'm just wondering how that will go and where I should focus my energy. If it should be that or my business, what's best for me right now.
So does this new position make your heart sing?
No. It makes my pocket full.
Right. And that's fine. But and will it require more time, more effort, more space away from your family? Like
Possibly. That's something that because I've worked weekends forever. So that's something that I need to negotiate with them because I'm not willing to give up every weekend.
okay. So yeah, so and here's the other, they're kind of showing me too for you is like you may need to kind of like do both for a little while, right? Like build up your pocketbook for a while you're still like growing your business. And I don't want to call it a side hustle because it feels like it's way bigger than a side hustle. But like I'm doing right now, like, and I'm trying to leave the corporate world and yet I'm still here. And so I'm doing both and it takes a lot of time and energy, but it's doable, right? And knowing that like over time, like you're eventually going to give up your corporate world if your business is in alignment with where you want to go. Right.
Mhm.
But I also want to remind you that sometimes spirit and the universe puts little things, like they put little like carrots, and it's like their way of saying, do you really want this business or not? Because I was offered something very similar back in December. Like it was like if I wanted to stay in the corporate world, it was going to be it was right in alignment with like my career path, moving up the corporate ladder. It was going to give me more responsibility, more money, and it was exactly like what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to do anymore. And I said no. Like I went through 2 interviews because I don't. If someone wants to interview me, I'm like, all right, I got nothing to lose. But as soon as they were like, we want you to do this like 2-hour presentation to the board, and we want you to give us ideas on how you would change the organization and all this stuff. And I was like, no, I'm not giving you 2 hours of my time for nothing. And it was going to take me 2 hours at least to build the presentation to begin with. And I was just like, no, I said no. Because one, I was like, I'm not giving you my advice for free. And then you could just not hire me. Also, I was like, no, I know this is the universe just like teasing me. They're like, do you really want this? And I was like, not really. Even though it was, if I wanted to stay in the corporate world, it would have been perfect. Oops, sorry. So yeah. So anyways, so just be aware that sometimes spirit like puts these little carrots in front of us just to tease you and go, are you sure you want to like go out on your own? Like, look at this beautiful like package that we have. Okay, so let me pull a card. But oh, okay. Okay, Beaver Spirit, lay a solid foundation. So right now it feels like go with the promotion, negotiate the fuck out of it to what you want. And if they don't want you, then be like, fine, then I'll stick with what I'm doing right now, right? Set your boundaries, right? Pocket some money away, right? And while you're doing that, focusing on your business, how you want to grow it, how you want it to look, because it feels like this promotion, like if you do it through the end of the year, you'll have saved some extra money, and you're gonna all of a sudden you're gonna be like, by January, be like, okay, I'm good. I've now built up a big enough following with my, and again, I hate to use the word side hustle, but that's what it's just easier than.
No.
So it's like, I'm going to build up my following. I'm going to build up some clients. I'm going to get some word of mouth going. And then by January, you're just gonna be like, all right, I laid my foundation. I'm good. Right. So it's really about kind of, it's like using this as a, you don't have to, as long as you know how it's going to change your life and how it's going to affect the amount of time and energy you have to put into your business, right? And you're willing to sacrifice that versus what you're already sacrificing by working in the corporate world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But it feels like, honestly, like it can, like I said, it can be a good thing for you to just be able to do both a little bit longer. And
Okay.
again, put a little bit of a nest egg. So the more money that you have, put it aside. Like, so spend and use the money that you normally would on your paycheck, and then put the rest like away a little bit. And either, again, over time, hire someone to help you with your marketing, hire someone like where then you can, when you're ready to launch, like boom, right? It all is going to come together. So it's almost like using your corporate job a little bit to fund your business, which is kind of what I'm doing right now, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing is that I know that they need me, and I have my voice now, so I can tell them,
Yay.
if
Yeah.
you want me, this is what it's going to cost you. So
Yes. And
Perfect.
that's the thing. And again, if they aren't willing, right, to,
Yeah.
and when we set clear boundaries, people are often like, okay, right? In our heads, we're like, they're going to say no, and they're going to like all this stuff. And often they're just like, oh, okay. Or they might counter offer, but it's up to you, right?
Yeah.
They want you specifically, not somebody else. And so you get, you have the ball in your hands right now, and you get to sort of control the situation. Ooh, excuse me. So just lean into it and be like, this is what I want. This is what I need. And in order for me to like accept this position.
Okay.
So yeah, whatever they offer you, counter offer it with what exactly you want. So sit down and visualize it. What does it look like? How does it affect your family? How does it affect your current business? And how can you make it and structure it in a way that will actually help you grow your business?
Okay. I
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
you.
You're welcome. All right, I need to pull Colleen a card. So I'm going to pull her an animal card too. So Colleen, I'm going to just pull a general card for you. And if you guys don't have to, whatever, you can stay on if you want. I'm always like, oh, all right. Oh, and next week, we have just the live, right? So the Akashic Records I talk about during the live, and then we're going to go into our Akashic Records. So there isn't a video for it. It's just like, we're going to go and we're going to do it. So if you're catching up on anything, catch up. And bring any questions you have. So Colleen, peacock spirit, let it shine, girl. Yes. It really does feel like you finally found your voice. You found your courage. It's like you went to Oz and you got all the gifts. So now it's time to use all the tools that you have. And this new job, like go and shine and do all the things that you weren't able to do in the last job because you had fear or you weren't really living in your full authentic self. So now that you have an opportunity to go someplace new and nobody knows you other than your boss, but you get to go and like change and show up exactly as you want and being clear and setting boundaries and doing all the same things I just told Trish, is you have a little bit of, you're in the driver's seat as far as like how you get other people to treat you, right? People don't have to walk all over you at this job because you're going to put that energy out there and be like, no. So shine your light, show up, put out clear boundaries as soon as you start and be like, this is what I'm doing. No, right? No is a full sentence. But like, they're just like, you know what you're doing. So go and freaking do it. And you're going to be amazing. You're going to be amazing at it. So just do what you do. And really like enjoy it. Cause it feels like this energy in this new job is really a much better fit for you. And you're going to have a lot more, energy, but it's going to like be a little bit more joyful as well. So, so thank you guys so much for like being here today and being in this class. And I will post the end of the class survey. And it has a question in there as well on if you are interested in a level 2, what it might look like. If I do a level 2, it won't be until probably September. So I'm just giving you all a heads up because I need time and space to really build it out and figure out what is best for the people that might be interested in doing it. So, but again, if you're not interested, that's okay. Like I take no offense whatsoever in people either being done or one and done. It's all good. But look for that in the next week. I'll post that out there. And if you guys have any testimonials or anything, please feel free. I'm going to send an email out as well, asking you guys for testimonials that you can either reply if you don't want to put it out on Facebook or in Google or whatever. And you just, and I only use your first name and last initial. I don't like, so just for privacy reasons, I don't be like, Trish said this and like put your picture, and I don't do all that because what I do sometimes is sensitive to some people. And so I try and respect your privacy as much as possible. So, so yeah, when I do post them either on my webpage or I post them when I'm launching something, I try and respect your privacy just in case you're worried about that. So I do that. But I will send an email out. So if you're not comfortable putting it out in a public forum, send me an email and I will put it on or again, use it either in my marketing stuff, but it just helps people who might be interested in this class understand the real power behind it. Because I can talk all day, but you know, I'm not the one that took the class. So it's more powerful from the students, as well as if you have any comments about my services, because I think you guys, except for Natalie, did you book your session with me yet? Did I send you the link? I did. Okay, it's fine. I just was like, wait, maybe I forgot to send her the link because that could have happened too. So I wanted.
Yeah, you did. I just need to do it. I'll do it now.
You have time to do it. It's again, it came with class, so it's all good. But yeah, if you guys have anything to say, I always love a good review as well. So, but thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next week on Wednesday. So hopefully you guys can make it, because again, it's going to be a live, and we're actually going to go in and we're going to do an Akashic record like meditation. It's going to take up most of the time, because it's deep, and I want you guys to get as much information, as well as you have the tool and the meditation to do it in the future as well. So, so thank you guys all, and I will see you guys all next week.
I
So,
have a question.
oh yeah, go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Sorry.
Okay, go on.
The videos that we have, do we lose, like, so after next week, do we lose them or do we get to keep those videos?
You keep them. You have
Okay.
access. You get lifetime access to the class, like the videos,
Okay.
the replays, like it's all going to live there, like where
Okay.
you can find them. At the end of May, you lose access to my membership group, but you can sign up, and if you want to stay in the membership group, you don't have to. But yeah, like the membership is free through the end of May, and then
Okay.
if you want to start in June and stay in the group, you can. If you don't, again, no big deal. But you get to keep the class
Perfect.
part and not like the full meditations, like in the like that meditation vault, like that'll go
Mhm.
away if you don't join the membership. But the class itself, the videos, the workbooks, those are all yours. I'm
Okay.
not going to like turn off access. And if I ever move to another platform, I'll just make sure you have that information and all that stuff. But yes, you
Okay,
get to
thank
keep it
you.
for the lifetime. Yes. Yeah. At first I was like going to let you guys keep it for like 5 weeks after, and then someone was like, can't we just have it for the rest of like for lifetime access? And I was like, yeah, I don't know why I'm limiting it. It's yours. So yeah, yes.
Mhm.
Long story
you.
short, yes.
you.
All right, ladies,
Right.
have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys all soon. Please, if you have any questions or anything, post them in the group. And again, that group you guys get to keep, right? And actually, so Emily like leaves the group when she's done like with the class, but like I don't leave. Like I'm still in there, and I will pop in and ask you guys how everybody's doing. So you guys keep, if you even after the class, if you have questions, feel free to like post questions or successes or whatever. And because I pop in there and I will be your biggest cheerleader and accountability person. So even long after this class, because it's what I do. So,
Mhm.
all right, ladies.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Thank
I'll see y'all soon.
you.
You're welcome.